It's been a while since the New York Jets have been involved in the comp pick game in a good way, but it looks like they're projected to receive a bounty of picks. We'll tell you exactly what the Jets have in their pile and what could soon be added to it. Let's roll here on Boy Green Daily.
It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor gosh darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Good morning, everybody. Paul Eston Jr. here, a.k.a. Boy Green. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you find your podcast on the audio version. I just checked before the show. We are 14 subscribers away from 6,000, baby, so make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button on the way in and also hit subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate you. All right, let's welcome in my guest. He joins me every Friday here during the offseason. That is none other than Italy Jet, baby. Good morning, Italy.
Good morning, Chow. Hope everyone's having a good Friday and going into this weekend with all the football games and also talking Jets today. Boy Green, how are you this morning?
I'm doing better after hearing what the Jets are projected to add to their pile. So before we tell you what they could add to their pile, let's tell you what they have currently, because it seems like there's a lot of confusion in Jets land. Some people are saying this, some people are saying that. So I want to get down to the bottom of it so everyone understands exactly where the Jets stand. So the Jets own 4 of their own selections. That's their own draft picks. That is in rounds 1, 3, 4, and 6. So you have 4 of their own picks that belong to them at the beginning, and no trades or anything had to happen there. So again, rounds 1, 3, 4, and 6. In addition to that, they also have the Browns' 4th round pick. That goes back to the Jacob Martin trade. So in totality, right at this current moment, the Jets have 5 draft picks in the 2024 class. And again, in rounds 1, 3, 4, and 6, plus an extra 4th. From the Denver Broncos. And this is how the Jets lost all of their original picks, because obviously you start off with 1 in every round. They lost their 2nd round pick this year because of the Aaron Rodgers trade, of course. Their 5th round draft pick was involved in that Jacob Martin deal, so moving up from 5 to the 4th round, 5th to the 4th round. And then finally, their own 7th round pick was shipped off last year in the Chuck Clark trade, which didn't end up working out, unfortunately, because Clark got injured. But hopefully he comes back, because I really like the player. And so those are what the Jets have. Again, 5 of their own, 5 picks total, and those are the picks that were involved in other deals that are moving on. But Italy, for the first time in a long time, it appears that the friggin' Jets are going to get a windfall of draft picks. Now, it's not the quality, but the quantity, which I find important, because again, the Jets have 5 right now, and it looks like they're going to add 3 to that pile from the compensatory pick formula. Shout out to the people over the cap that project this thing. It's an inexact science, but they make it as exact of a science as possible. There's also a link if you're watching on YouTube and you want to keep track of all this movement and how all this means, because I said a lot of words there, but the article is linked on YouTube as well. The Jets are set to receive 3 7th-round draft choices. And here's why. The Jets lost Nate Herbig. He signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Jets lost Mike White and Dan Feeney, who signed with the Miami Dolphins. And basically, in a layman's sense term, the draft picks, what happens is the free agents you lose to the free agents you add. And it's a little more complicated than that, but that's basically how it works. So if this holds, the Jets would then have 8 draft selections in the 2024 class coming up here in April. One of them, including, as we talked about before the show, Mr. Irrelevant. And the other rule I wanted to mention here, because the Jets are projected to receive 3, there's a chance they only get 2. The one that's on the fence is the Mr. Irrelevant pick. Either the New York Jets or the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to get them. The NFL only releases 32 comp picks exactly, even though more than 32 only 32 are awarded, but there's more than 32 worthy because of all the free agency losses and stuff. So some people just kind of get the shaft and don't get the full pick. So we'll have to wait to see how that plays out and what the NFL considers. But right now, it looks like they're going to get the most pile of picks they've had in quite some time, Italy. Okay, 8 picks, not too shabby, especially in this win now year, Italy.
What the heck? I mean, I knew I was in for a good Friday, but dang, after hearing all of that, I'm like, oh, okay. Well, let's hope it works out. But overall, that's great, especially getting the Mr. Irrelevant pick after everything what Purdy's been through. It's been, that would be awesome. I mean, even if we do get those picks, maybe trade maybe 1 or 2 away for a guy. But man, that's awesome because I love the draft. I love draft picks. So this is good stuff I'm hearing right now. I like it.
Yeah, temporarily in the past, when the NFL had these comp picks, you weren't allowed to trade them in the past. Now you can. All comp picks are like all your other picks; they can be traded. So I don't want to bring this memory up, although we saw this guy at the Pro Football Hall of Fame when I was down there in August. But you don't want an IDSIC 12 situation. Now 8 picks, IDSIC 12, like the Jets didn't have any movement, but they had a ton of picks, and they probably it would have behooved them, instead of taking 12 guys, to trade up, combine some of those picks to get, again, quality over quantity. And in this all-in year, the Jets roster, there's a lot that you like, but you need some more pieces. And specifically, we all know the positions, but backup quarterback, offensive line, RB2, tight end 2 or 3, the entire offensive line, like I said, tackles, guards, centers. You need interior defensive line depth. You need safeties. I mean, there's a lot of things the New York Jets need in an ancillary sense, a little smaller on their priority list. But the more picks you have, the more wiggle room you have potentially to make one of these moves. So I will throw this over to you, Italy, and we'll kind of go piece by piece through this. The Jets have the 10th overall pick. Do you have a sense right now? It's very early, January 26th. We've got Senior Bowl week next week. Things are going to happen that, player stocks are going to surge and rise. And then there's going to be other things where player stocks kind of plummet if weird things happen during the offseason. Do you have an inkling? Is there a draft crush you have that you want the Jets to take with the 10th overall pick, or position you prefer they take?
I actually love what Dakota said earlier in the chat. Fuega, Fashanu, and the guy from Washington, the wide receiver, Odenuzzi. I love those 3. Those are my guys I really want right now at the 10th pick.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
there you go.
Fuaga, Fashanu, and Odunze. Okay.
I've been talking about them for about a month now, and I really like these 3 a lot. If I'm the Jets and 2 of them are off the board, for Fashanu, run to go get them, or Fuega. I like that as a backup as well. Those 3 I'm really crushing on. Of course Harrison Jr., right? That's kind of a given.
Yeah.
But I know a couple guys were talking about Walker from North Carolina. I think that would be cool too.
Chaz Walker, sure. Yeah, the wide receiver. Yeah, okay.
Yes, one of my buddies was talking about that, and the more I was thinking about it, I'm like, ooh, yeah, that May and Walker connection. I was like, yes, I like that. But a couple of Blaze talked about Foshishanu, talked about Walker, but I have a crush on Fuega and Udinese a lot. So those are my 2 guys. But I do like what I'm seeing early from them, and hopefully during the combine, everything it'll show.
Yeah, we'll see. Some of those players like Odunze, we'll see if he's on the board for the New York Jets at 10. It's kind of varied in the mock drafts that I've seen so far. For Shano, it's been kind of hit or miss, although more recently hit. It seems like, according to Daniel Jeremiah, NFL teams are split on Fashanu, but he would be a step-in day 1 starting left tackle, which, again, the Jets are losing both of their tackle tandems of starters from 2023. Mekhi Becton and Dwayne Brown are set to be free agents. Again, I would fully expect Dwayne Brown to retire, and Mekhi Becton. Right. The more I hear from these team insiders like Brian Costello told Jake Asman at his show, there's no way that Mekhi Becton's coming back, according to his opinion. And then Rich Cimini Becton, Mekhi Becton spoke with Rich Cimini, and Becton told Rich that he expects to have a very robust market in free agency. And maybe any player would say that, but he said that to Rich, and he sounds like he wants to come back. But he said if the Jets don't want me, then it is what it is. So he was very blunt about that as well. We'll see. Fuaga could be a trade back scenario potentially if the Jets want to go in that direction. I've heard a few people mention that as a possibility if the Jets want to add even more picks potentially to this pile. So TBD. Connor Rudders tells me the thing to worry about with Fasciano is he's not the same run blocker as others. But the important thing is obviously protecting Aaron Rodgers. And apparently Fasciano would do that better than anyone. He called him a day one starter that you feel really good about from a pass protection standpoint. So that part of the equation should feel very good. By the way, I didn't mention this on the show yesterday, but I want to say it today. Belated happy birthday to my daughter who turned 2 yesterday. We had a crazy day of action planned yesterday. Very nice. And thank you for all the wonderful messages on social media. So happy 2-year birthday to my daughter yesterday on January 25th. Absolutely spectacular.
All right. Happy
What a
birthday.
time.
Happy birthday.
Oh, yeah. It was, wow, unbelievable. Yeah. Time flies, as they say. Time certainly flies. There's no doubt about it. And oof, there's another one from Phil. If we didn't sign Mecole Hardman, I think we would have received a 5th-round comp pick. Yeah, it could have been because, again, you have to kind of add up all the math. Yeah, because I saw the Packers got a 5th, or projected anyway. Everything's projected.
Right.
They're projected to get a 5th-rounder for losing Allen Lazard. And Jet fans are like, what the hell? What happened there?
Mhm.
So, yeah, there's a couple of these moves that obviously didn't pan out. Dalvin Cook didn't count because he was after the window, so that signing didn't count towards the comp pick formula. But a couple of these, like Mecole and some of these ones that didn't work, certainly worked against them from that perspective. So, again, that's part of the dance. That's part of the dance for sure.
And then SGT is fueling your pain right there. SGT CVO on the bottom. Terrible twos. Terrible twos.
Oh, yes, I see. We're in the struggle now together. Yes. So far, she's been great, but I don't know if it's like a werewolf situation, a certain time, and all of a sudden she transforms into this. But I am prepared. I am prepared for that. So thank you very much. And my dad has noticed there's a lot more silver in the beard. That there is. That there is. Yep. I'm getting old. See it every day in the mirror. But I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to put this out in the universe. I don't give a flying hoot if I look like Santa. Okay. I ain't adding anything to this. This is going to be all natural. The head, the beard. Hey. If I'm old, I'm old. It just is what it is. That's what's going to happen here. We're going to let the natural aging process attack me and beat me with a pipe. So that's what's going to happen there. So if I got the silver whiskers, whatever, man. I'm what am I, 30? Yeah, I turned 31 in April. So if the silver's there, I used to have this kid in like a middle school. He had like gray hair in middle school. So you know what? You can always say it could be worse. All right.
I'm the complete opposite. I hair dye all the time. Whenever
Oh,
happens.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
get the hair done, whatever it takes.
What is it? What just gray for men? I mean, I'm not even getting any sponsorship for this for these free plugs. But I don't even know what else is out there. Isn't that the thing that you just brush on? What
Yeah, you brush on, you clean it up, you make sure you don't get in your eyebrows and stuff.
Oh God, yeah, I can imagine that could be stark. Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I don't have to worry about that right now. But
okay,
but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Like my hair is starting to turn a little gray, but
okay. Well,
I'm getting there.
Yeah, I'll be rooting for you, pal. Yeah, we'll figure all this out.
I'm rooting for you too.
I appreciate that. Again, everybody, feel free to drop in some questions. Feel free to do so. We can answer a few on the way out here. We only got a couple of final minutes here before we sign off of the program. Again, in case you missed at the beginning of the episode, I just established that the Jets have 5 draft picks in 2024, but they are projected to receive 3 additional comp picks, which would put them to the 8-pick total. Now, normally the draft pile is determined right around free agency. So that's, first, second week of March is when we've found out in the past. So TBD on all of that. Now, I'll probably have a longer video for this because it just has to like kind of what's his vibe for 10th overall. and we'll have a longer form video on this. I'll have to look at the schedule to see when that's going to happen, but to see when we have time for it. But I have a weird feeling Brock Bowers, baby, and he's a tight
Really?
end. I understand it's going to make a lot of people crazy. I just keep hearing how people describe it, and I'm just reading the room. So everyone
Yeah.
says that Brock Bowers, who's the tight end out of Georgia, is this generational prospect, and he's going to be like Daniel Jeremiah called him a top 5 pick of the draft based on talent. But he explained like positional value, positional value, positional value. Joe Douglas continues to say BPA, BPA, BPA. And that to me lines up with the plan that I believe is going to be there, where they're on the board at 10. Now, again, in our longer form video, we'll include this clip, but Mel Kiper does a first draft podcast where he goes into his mock draft in greater detail. So he kind of talks through decisions. I find it really fascinating. And he said that initially he was going to let Brock Bowers slip to the Jets at 10. But then he said, like, there's no way Brock's on the board at 10. Like, he's going to go higher. But he said if he was there, like that's where he would go. So he ended up putting him 5th to the LA Chargers. So we will see. But I don't know, man. I just have a weird feeling. But to Jared B's point, who threw this in here, he'd love Adunze if we fill our offensive line for Idzi. Of course, for Idzi comes before the draft. So whatever you're able to fill there could potentially lead to what happens. But go ahead, Italy.
I mean, it's also one of those things where we've had the luck with the draft where people have fallen to us, like Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, and then even JJ was still on the board in the later round, and
26,
and then we went up and got him. So it's not impossible. But thing is, Joe Douglas loves those tight ends, man. Loves those tight ends. So I would not be surprised if something happens really weird, and we get Bowers. Personally, though, I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to go top 5, top 6. But
I'm fine no matter what, because if he goes higher, then okay, the Jets didn't take a tight end with the 10th overall pick, and that means another good player slipped. Okay, and if you get him, from everyone that says it, they say screw tight end. He's an offensive weapon in this dynamic pass catcher. So I'm fine either way, to be honest with you. There's no doubt about it. But I like that point that you just said because I think it's important. The 2022 class, the Jets did not get their first strike at cornerback. Stingley went number 3. They ended up with Sauce as the quote-unquote second option at wide receiver. Garrett Wilson was not the first wide receiver off the board. That was Drake London. So the Jets got the second dibs at that position as well, and it's worked out because it looks like the Jets at this time got the best wide receiver and the best quarterback out of that draft, as far as I'm concerned. Some people will argue Olave, he's looked very nice, but from what I've seen, it looks like you felt pretty well. So if the Jets get they have a chance to get the quote-unquote second best offensive lineman on the board if Joel goes. Well, the Jets have a nice little history here of hitting not too shabby with the quote-unquote second pick of the position. And I heard Johnny say he wanted us to evaluate kind of his like mini mock here with Fuaga, Zimter. I know Malachi Corley. Everyone loves him. And then Sam Hartman. I know my dad, who's a Notre Dame guy, will really
Corley,
appreciate
I like that. I like Corley and Hartman. Zinter, I'm not really too familiar on him. But still, that's a nice, interesting little mock. We'll see. Plus, obviously, as we talked about on an earlier episode this week, another way the Jets can add to their draft pick pile, of course, is trading back. So that's always available as well as a potential option. So we have to keep that in mind. And we jumped up for Breece Hall.
We did. We jumped up to 35 to take Breece Hall. And as Trill says here, we could trade down, get a second round pick, and either get Wilson from Michigan or Florida Gators offensive line in the second and third round. So, as I did in a video earlier, I'll also make sure I put it on the YouTube community channel. But on Instagram, the lowest the Jets can drop back and then recoup a second round pick is in the 17-18 range. That's the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Bengals. So if they trade back 7 or 8 spots, they could recoup a second round pick. If you trade back 8 spots, that's the Bengals at 18. You wouldn't have to give up any other picks. Like it would just be first round pick swap plus they get the Bengals second. That's how the value works. So I'd love that. That's not bad at all.
Yeah,
Let's
definitely.
see.
I agree.
Is the amount of Lazard's contract the reason the pick was fifth round instead of seventh? Yeah, like it's the contract value. I do believe they also do average per year as a factor in their complicated formula. So that's another part of the reason. But that affects everything. You pile up all the things the Jets spent within the comp pick formula. Like I said, Dalvin Cook doesn't count because it happened so late in the offseason. All the things you let go, and it's a compare and contrast thing. Again, it's a little more complicated. The NFL has their own formula, and people have been kind of guessworking at how it all works. But Over the Cap does a really good job with that, figuring out the formulas. But that is a big part of the reason. And then Jesse says Chris Jenkins, the son, of course, of legendary Chris Jenkins, who once played for the Jets, of course, out of Michigan. Really love him a lot. Jets need interior defensive line. I don't really have a good sense of draft stocks or draft values yet, but of course, I would really love to get him on there for sure. All right, everybody, a lot of good stuff coming, a lot of great questions. We will have a little swap-a-rooney. Ty Butler will be joining me on Boy Green Daily tomorrow, and then Hop on Pop will shift to Sunday, and that ends up working out my pop. You give us some thoughts on the conference championship, plus we'll have a Jets topic as well. And then we'll have Dom C's off on Monday. He's going down to the Senior Bowl, so we'll have a different draft expert joining us on Monday, and Dom C will join us live from the Senior Bowl. I believe that's going to be on next Thursday. That's February the 1st. So we're going to have a great bunch of shows, guys. So I hope you guys enjoy them and checking them out. Again, make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. We're getting closer and closer to 6,000 subs. I won't have to say that much longer because we're going to be chasing 7,000 subs, baby, because that's where the train's rolling. Italy, as always, thanks for popping on, brother.
Appreciate you as always, my friend. Appreciate the chat as always. And we'll be here every Friday. Go Jets, baby. Ciao.
See you guys. Peace out. See you tomorrow morning.